function. Today, I get to sit down with someone doing beautiful work, and I've been wanting to bring her voice to all of you. I have a guest today whose work I really respect, and I think she's going to speak to everyone right where you are. Her name is Rita Johnson. Rita is a wife, mom of six, soon to be seven, a podcaster, and the owner of functional medicine nutrition practice. Woman after my own heart, mother and running a functional nutrition practice. So she helps women take their health back into their own hands with a deep dive into hormonal and gut health using dietary changes because we always start with food, lifestyle and mindset work, and at-home lab testing. I am a fan of tracking your hormones at home. At the heart of it, she helps women live out their God given mission. Really, this is the foundation of everything we do by feeling well in their own bodies. So, Rita, welcome. Is there
Thank you.
anything else that you'd like to add before we dive in?
Oh gosh, I think that's about that's me in a good nutshell. I would say in my spare time, I also homeschool my children. I can't remember if that was in there. So.
Good addition. Wow. So, mom of six, you homeschool and you run a business. We need to
Yeah.
we need to ask you for more like efficiency and
Oh, I love talking about that.
about maybe a different episode.
I love to say that. I do not do it all. I do a lot of things. I do not do it all. And that's how
Mhm.
we do it.
Perfect. Good to know. Okay, so let's warm up a little. So I have three quick questions, kind of icebreakers before we get to the good stuff. Well, this is good too, but get to the meat of the interview. So, what book are you reading right now?
Oh, yes. So I'm not loving it. It's a book we're reading for our book club. It's Lonesome Dove. So it is a Western novel. It's just not one I would promote far and wide, actually, which is unusual for me. Usually I tend to more classics that are like, everyone needs to read this book.
Oh, okay. Um, So you think you're going to finish that book?
I will.
You
I
did.
know. It is getting more, it's 880 pages, and it is getting more interesting as I wear on. So I have about 150 pages left, and it
Wow.
is a little more, but my next book that's right under it is The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. And my teenager just read it and she loved it. So I'm really excited to read that one next.
Oh, wow. I'm really impressed. You're doing all this and you still have time to read.
That's my sanity. I'm sure you have those too,
That
Christy.
that's mine is gardening. I'm like I actually put planting and gardening in my schedule because I have to stop and plant. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. 100%.
All right. So what is the first thing that you do in the morning?
Yes. I love to sit down with a cup of coffee with collagen in it so that I can get away with waiting a little longer before I eat and pray, and just spend some time reading the mass readings of the day. And some days I just stare off and give it all to the Lord. That's all I have. And other days it's much more contemplative and I'm going to read
Mhm.
something spiritual. And yeah, that's what
That's a good
how I
way.
like to start my day.
It's a good way to start the day. So yeah, you mentioned having collagen. I actually have collagen in my coffee right now.
Yay!
Yes, because I do notice the difference if there's collagen and if there's not.
Yes, for sure.
So, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. We haven't even like gotten through the interview. We already have like good tips for everyone. Yes, everyone, please put collagen in your coffee. It's protein and it will like prevent a sugar spike, and it will like help you it will sustain your energy, but where you're not, getting shaky from the caffeine. But
For sure.
then yeah, it's a good layer for your stomach, and I'm sure we'll talk about it soon enough.
Yes. Yes. I love talking about it with perimenopause too. So we'll circle back.
Yeah. So, okay, now food. What is your favorite food?
Oh, my favorite food. I really love like different combinations and I love variety. So, like right now, I'm loving this like cucumber, tomato, olive oil, salt, and fresh basil salad. In the
Mm.
summer months, when everything's just bursting with the cucumbers and tomatoes and using different heirlooms. But then there's other times, like in the winter, I love like a diverse roasted root vegetable. So having like potatoes and beets and turnips and parsnips and onion and carrots, all mixed together. I just love those different flavor combinations. And so I probably would say, like, usually it's some kind of veggie, maybe like a beet salad at other times, just
Wow.
something that's fresh and has lots of different flavors to it.
Oh my gosh, it sounds so amazing. So yeah, so here in Alaska, we it's hard to grow your own veggies. So I actually have a hydroponic tower
Beautiful.
at home, and it's just amazing, especially with what's happening with the with the salad right now nationally. I
Yeah.
just tell my kids, hey, I need someone to harvest some salad. So right now I'm growing, I have cilantro, salanova lettuce,
Ooh.
and savory. I don't even know, like these things, I didn't find out like there's several types of lettuces and several,
Yes.
all these variety until I started growing hydroponically. So yeah, we just snip a little bit and then I just mix it with balsamic. I make my own like olive oil, balsamic vinaigrette,
Yes.
and it is just the freshest salad. It's amazing.
Sounds so yummy. I
I'm
love
just,
that too.
yeah,
And so simple,
it
right?
is.
Like people think it has to be hard. It can be so simple and so good.
Yeah, I think that's the mindset. It's like you think of salads like, oh my gosh, gotta do all these things. I gotta wash it. I gotta do this, and then, but then it is. It's just so simple. So yeah. So hopefully, like by the end of this interview, everyone listening will just realize that it's not hard. It's just something simple. We're just making it hard on ourselves.
Totally,
Yes.
100%.
So another reason why I wanted to have you on is a lot of women hit their late 30s and 40s and feel like their body just stopped cooperating.
Mhm.
They've been like doing the same workout, eating the same food, like nothing changed. But then they start packing on the weight. So a lot of women actually at this stage, as you may know, they're thinking, well, I probably need to eat less and work out more. So then it's just basically just stepping on the gas with the brakes on. So
Yeah.
today we're going to talk about what's actually happening in perimenopause and what women can start doing right now to feel more like themselves. So you're a mom of six and one on the way, and you run a practice. So how did you land in functional nutrition and hormone work?
Yeah, so I got into this space. We actually, so believe it or not, I had secondary infertility sprinkled in with our kiddos. And in that time, I was working as a Creighton fertility care practitioner. And I realized in the midst of being frustrated that we weren't conceiving, that I also felt like garbage most days. Like there was this underlying current of like, I don't actually really feel good. And when I realized that, um, in conjunction with the struggle to conceive, I was like, I don't just want to go to, I love them, they're wonderful, but I didn't just want to go to my regular NAPRO that a lot of my clients were going to. I didn't want just progesterone. I knew I needed something deeper than that. I wanted to understand why my body wasn't making its own progesterone. I wanted to understand why I wasn't feeling well. And truly, the Lord sent me on this amazing healing journey. Physically, He helped me encounter through lots of different practitioners. I just had this very storied season where I would work with somebody and they were really helpful. And then I would find out that they believed something that was very contradictory to my faith, right? So, like, they're helping me nutritionally here, but then they're doing
Yes.
Reiki over here. And you're like, I have to
Yes.
go and not come back. And so through that, I, got pieces of what was going on and started to understand and
Mhm.
learn how to support my body. Not that I needed to do everything, I just needed to do what my body needed. And then mentally and spiritually, I had these really profound encounters at the same time. And at the end of this year of intense healing, the Lord, I had a very profound moment where I was prayed over. And 2 weeks later, we found out we were pregnant with number five after
Oh,
almost
that's
5 years.
amazing.
Incredible. And I heard the Lord say, now I want you to go do this for other women. And so that really was the incubation period. And then my business is now, it'll be 6 years old this fall. And so that's how I got into this space. But there was always a curiosity. My husband and I had a farm at one point, and we had raw dairy and pasture raised pigs, and we did our own chickens. And so, we were always thinking about the way food nourished and fueled our bodies, but having that support and that direction from my own journey was what really launched me into this space.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. We have very similar stories.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll share my story after your interview. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's amazing. So also a Creighton fertility care practitioner, are you still doing that or?
So I have women that teach in my center. They teach fertility care, but I'm not
Okay.
teaching it anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because yeah, we need people in Alaska right now. Like I had mentioned earlier, I'm the only one here so far,
Yeah.
fertility care and NAPRO medical consultant. So we need people to help women in Alaska.
Yes. Yes. They teach virtually. So,
Yeah,
yes, they're wonderful.
that's true. Yes, and I love how, like you have this piece, and yes, I agree with you. We always have to go to the root cause of things. So, yes, we can always supplement with progesterone. We can find out why progesterone is low, but why is it low is, what we need to address. And yep, let's go to nutrition. So, tell us about your podcast and the women that you're speaking to.
Yeah, so the podcast really is it's funny. I'm sure you're probably this way too, Christy, with all the many hats we wear. I don't often listen to podcasts, but I have a podcast, and as a result, it's funny how it can kind of still tailor to the type of person that I am. And so it's short episodes. And I just really found that with a lot of my clients that sometimes they just needed to be able to put something on that would encourage them in the day to day or in the interim time in between our sessions. And so I try to aim for the episodes to be 5 to 10 minutes long. It's kind of evolved over the years.
Wow.
And it's just a lot of like either a soapbox moment or, hey, you just need to remember to breathe throughout your day. And that's going to go a lot farther than stressing about eating perfect or whatever it is that truly that I feel the Holy Spirit has put on me to say to the women. And right now it's a lot of being pregnant over 40 because that's my reality. That's my lived experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so just sharing that with others to try to break down stigmas and things that they're scared and worried about in their health
Mm-hmm.
that's snowballing and making things worse.
Wow, I'm glad you're talking about being pregnant after 40 because a lot of women come to me like, "Hey, I'm 40 something," or I get this referral like, 44, 45, and then so like the Western medicine trained me, I'm kind of like, "Oh, okay." I don't know what to tell. But then the Creighton practitioner and NAPRO consultant me and like my training in functional nutrition, I'm thinking, well, there's hope. There's more hope. So it's interesting how like different trainings, like get you to this mindset of like, well, limitation versus let's explore more.
Totally, totally.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yes, it is possible to get pregnant after 40.
Yeah.
So let's start where a lot of women are. Why does it feel like your body is suddenly broken in perimenopause?
Yes, yes, I love talking about this. So, essentially, just to define a few terms. So, perimenopause, we're talking about the 10 years leading up to menopause, right? Which we can't know what happens until after it happens. That's when we have a
Yes.
full year without a period. But because the average age of menopause is about 51, I think it's 51 in the US. So, we're looking at any time between late 30s, early 40s when we feel like our body is kind of just starting to shift and change. And that's exactly how I would describe it too, is how you described it, Christy, that like moment of like, oh, how I used to support my body is no longer working. Something's changing and I haven't changed, or my lifestyle, these other factors haven't changed. We're essentially landing the plane under our 20s and 30s. We've been at cruising altitude, right? Working under high levels of hormones. Now we're landing the plane to work under low levels of hormones. And so our body has to restructure a lot of different systems in that process. And that's oftentimes why we feel unwell in this perimenopausal transition. Because that 10 years is when we're, really going down that
Mm.
airplane. It's natural, it's normal, it's good. But it just sometimes can be really bumpy. So our goal is
Getting
always
turbulence.
That's right. Exactly. Our goal is always to figure out how to land the plane the smoothest way possible. And so some of those shifts that happen are microbially. And this is one of the reasons I like talking about collagen in perimenopause, actually. So one of the shifts that's happening is in the gut microbiome. We have like we're making lactoferrin, okay? And lactoferrin is a protein that is helping to support the lining of the microbiome where they like to live. So you can think of it as like an insulation against other microbes that are what we would call dysbiotic, so the weeds in your gut garden, if you will. So as lactoferrin starts to disappear, it's one of the earliest things that they are seeing that's happening now. As that goes away, then we immediately start to notice not only some metabolic changes where we're adding on weight, even though we haven't changed our diet, we also might start to notice some GI issues. So maybe more bloating or indigestion, perhaps constipation or diarrhea, especially if that's like, I was always somebody that was more constipated and now I have more diarrhea. These are kind of shifts that we can notice as a result of those microbial changes. So where can we find lactoferrin? We can find it in collagen. We can find it in colostrum. So adding those things back in can really go a long way, not only with the known benefits that we talk about all the time with collagen, but also with helping support our gut microbiome environment. Beyond that, as we start to lose progesterone, which is what happens first, progesterone is the hormone that's dominant in our post-ovulatory time, right? So it's really what's warming up our body. It's getting your body ready for baby because your body doesn't yet know if there's a baby there or not. So it's helping support your sleep cycle. It's helping to reduce inflammation. Estrogen and progesterone do that. But, really, we need to think about the ways these hormones function on our physiology as we start to ease up on them. Then it helps us to understand, oh, that's why I'm waking up in the middle of the night now. Or that's why I don't have that protective layer to my blood sugar or to my cardiovascular system. And so as we start to peel back those layers, then we start to see the ways that it makes more sense. That our body didn't just break, our systems didn't just break. We just need to lean into the support the body needs at this time to help that plane land a little bit smoother. I can't remember, Christy, if I answered your entire first question, but how am I doing with answering your question?
You're doing great.
Okay,
Flowing
good.
smoothly.
I'm like, am I on track? Where
Yes,
was I
you
going with that? Okay.
Yes.
Uh,
So where are we right now? So yeah, so in perimenopause, I love that analogy of the plane. My husband's a pilot. So
Amazing.
when you
Yes.
said that, I was like, okay, that makes sense. Yep. So yes, we do have a destination, right? So we have phases in our cycle. We go through puberty, we go through, our childbearing years, and then we cruise control as we raise kids. And then, like you said, we kind of have to hit our destination because we can't just be in the air all the time, right? So
Yes.
we only have so much fuel, like we're jumping in your airplane analogy. So we
Yes.
have this flight plan. There's only enough fuel that we have to land, and there's certain calculations that our body does, and then we have to make sure that we land smoothly. And I
Yes.
love because this is actually you're actually the first guest that talked about lactoferrin and colostrum being supportive.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think too, like there's so many ways we can run with the analogy too, because, and I'm sure you have this experience, Christy, when we have somebody that comes to us who had a very stressful, some type of trigger event, right? I worked with a woman one time who very suddenly her husband passed away, and she had 10 kids, and her youngest was like less than a year old.
Wow.
And she was in her early 40s, right? So oftentimes that can be the storm that your body's like, the plane needs to get on the ground now, right? Like your body's
It's
like,
emergency
oh,
landing.
emergency landing. And so sometimes that does trigger us right into menopause. And sometimes by the grace of God, it doesn't, but it just makes things really, really hard and rocky. Something I didn't get into, but it's also critically important, is the way that as the hormonal levels are going down, the ovaries are no longer making the progesterone and estrogen. Eventually we'll just have a low level of estrogen, and that's primarily being made from our adrenals, also some from our adipose tissue, so our fat stores. But your
Mhm.
adrenals are really responsible for your stress response your entire life. Other things too, like your circadian rhythm and your ability to metabolize water and stay hydrated. But if the adrenals are tapped out by the time we get here, it's going to be a much more difficult transition
Yeah.
to really navigate through perimenopause, because your body already lacks what it needs to be able
Mhm.
to make this a little bit smoother of a supported landing.
Yeah, and then a lot of people don't know that the adrenals actually help take over estrogen production when the ovaries, like you said, when the ovaries tapped out. And I was
Yeah.
thinking that before you said it. Now I'm thinking, did we go to the same training? Because like thinking your thoughts and you're saying it. So yes, the more like stressed out we are, like in our pre-perimenopausal years, the more we tap out our adrenals. So the adrenals are not able to kind of help with producing the estrogen that we need to carry us throughout our life. And yes, Western medicine, we do check estrogen levels, and like sometimes it's naturally it does, like less than 5 or less than 10. Yes, that's, they never say zero. They always say like less than 5, but that means basically zero. And yes, that is normal for menopause, but that's not a good level for women to function. That's when they're getting hot flashes and they're cranky, skin issues. Um, so we need to replace that either with food or hormone replacements. A lot of women cannot get hormone replacement therapy because of other things. And I'm
Yeah.
glad that you're here to talk about how we can use food and lifestyle changes to get this replacement. Whether the root cause is you're in menopause or perimenopause, or whether the cause is either some kind of metabolic issue
Mhm.
or some lifestyle. So let's get into that. So for I think this might be kind of getting to this. So my next question is, so for a woman who feels off but her labs come back normal, so what might she be missing?
Yes. Ah, great question. So the first thought I always have is, what lab ranges are we using? Are we using conventional lab ranges, or are we using a functional lens, which is going to be a lot more
Mhm.
narrow and just like Christy just mentioned, really more looking for, where do you feel well? Where are you operating from a place of feeling well? Because that too can tell us a lot more about where the dysfunction is coming from. We can pull out patterns,
Mhm.
combining those with symptoms that you're presenting with, that can help us to understand this is the type of support you need. So, for example, someone that is struggling with the progesterone, maybe the early stages perimenopause. So the progesterone starting to ease up. Estrogen could still be erratic. It could still be high. It could still be, normal, or what would be normal.
Mhm.
But progesterone and estrogen, because of their relationship, I like to think of them as in symphony with one another. As
Mhm.
we lose one of those pieces and it drops off, then we need to see how can we support estrogen, not only its production, but also its metabolism process.
Mhm.
So I would think about something like, what else is going on? What other factors are at play? Are we digesting and breaking things down? Even things like our estrogen needs to be metabolized in your gut microbiome. So we talked about lactoferrin. Lactoferrin really takes its house in the gut is in the estrobolome, which is the place that you're metabolizing your estrogens. And so if there is a compromised estrobolome, if the liver is not, I like to simplify it by saying, like, the liver turns off our active hormones and then passes them out through our digestive system. If instead the liver is compromised and the estrogen is being turned back on and it's free flowing in the body, these are all things that On the labs, it might say one thing, but the reality is that we need to support the liver, or we need to support the gut microbiome, or we need to see how are you absorbing and breaking foods down well, so that these labs can start to normalize and we can see
Hmm.
some rebalancing happening, especially with that narrower lens that we can see in functional medicine.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's, it's the production, how we're using it, and then the excretion is also important. So the liver is our main metabolizer. If it's not metabolizing well, it means we just have all these estrogen that's free flowing in our body, like you had mentioned.
Yeah.
And then same thing with our gut microbiome. So I'm glad actually. So let's talk about the gut and hormone connection, right?
Yeah.
So let's deep dive more into that.
Yeah. So basically, when we're making our progesterone and estrogen, I like to think of what are all the things that have to have happened in order for us to have the key ingredients. We need to make estrogen. We need to make progesterone. So these are cholesterol based hormones. So that means we need to be sure we're getting dietary cholesterol, right?
Yes.
Ideally, good dietary cholesterol. So from our coconut oil or grass-fed butter or eggs or raw dairy, like all of these beautiful sources of animal meats from animals that have lived their life wonderfully. And if not, if that like budget constraints keep us from being able to do that, that's okay. Like it's amazing how incredible God has made our bodies to be able to take less than perfect ingredients and still be able to function optimally, right? So
Hmm.
that's one level of it that we instantly need to be thinking of. We need to think of the cofactors, right? So I like to think of the cofactors as your vitamins and minerals. So the colors that you're getting in from
Hmm.
ideally your produce. If you're getting lots of diversity there, then you're probably good, as long as you're metabolizing them well. And this is the other piece that I see missing a lot when we're not addressing just how the body's functioning, but we're just looking at, oh, you just need to eat more of this, or we need to just take this supplement as a stopgap, right? But the reality is that if you're not breaking food down well, if you're not metabolizing it well, no supplement, no beautiful, amazing diet is going to get the
Hmm.
impact to your cells, to the things like making your progesterone, your estrogen, which are low hanging fruit, if we're not first doing that. And so I just like to say, like, what does that look if we're not breaking down our food well? Well, it looks like a lot of bloating, a lot of gas, indigestion. It can be not well formed bowel movements. Christy, I'm going to go there. I hope you don't mind. Like, I love to just like, this is what a bowel movement should look like, you guys. Just like when you
Okay.
touch cervical mucus and define it and understand, like, oh, that's what is happening here. It's the same thing with our bowel movements, right? We
Yes.
should be completely eliminating every single day. We should notice there's no straining or pushing. It should be about the consistency of peeled banana. Cleanup should be a minimal. And when you walk away, you feel like you've completely evacuated the bowels. I want that every day, ideally 2 times a day, right? Like that's
Yes. Yes. Totally
good.
agree.
But if that's not happening, then no matter what else we add in or how we manipulate the diet, we're either not going to feel well or we're going to overlook what our body is telling us is the biggest problem. And I'm sure too, you mentioned HRT, adding in those hormones, that's not going to feel well if you
Nope.
have some blockage somewhere in here, right? Whether it's digestively, whether it's with your liver. If you've ever had bioidentical estrogen or progesterone, you're like, I felt terrible on that. That's a sign that we need to do more to support the
Yes.
elimination pathways.
Yeah, totally agree. I'm not the one, I mean, as much of a fan I am of hormone replacement, it is not like my first go-to. If someone comes to me saying, "Oh, I think I'm in perimenopause. I heard, you're very good at, managing with patches." And then so there I am, I feel like I'm already set up like, whoa, she's expecting me to give her a patch. But then like I run all these tests and it's like, oh, well, let's optimize this first because, and I'm honest with them, if I
Yeah,
give you this, you're going to feel terrible.
yeah,
You would need to take care of this. We need everything to flow smoothly, right?
yeah.
So like it's like a dam. If there's something that's blocking and you just keep pushing things, it's just gonna rise up. and it's just going to flood. So women are going to feel terrible. So
100%.
yeah, and then so like home hormone testing, you incorporate that a lot in your work. So what kind of testing plan can help a woman understand her body?
Yeah, so a lot of the at-home testing that I do is actually more functional based and less hormonally based. I'm having them do like cycle tracking to be able to see what's
Yes.
going on with the, progesterone and estrogen based on
Mm-hmm.
temperature or cervical mucus or, whatever they have been using, observing wise. But
Mm-hmm.
beyond that, I love to use things like the GI stool map to really look deeper into things like those elimination pathways, what's going on in the gut microbiota, and also digestively if we need support there. There are people that have been really sick for a long time, and maybe the labs look normal, but they don't feel good. And so, another at home test that I really like is called the organic acids test, which is also
Mm-hmm.
looking more at those metabolic pathways, but through a little nuanced, different of a lens, maybe looking more at like mold exposure and the body's ability to get rid of that after having been exposed, things of that
Mm-hmm.
nature. I used to do more with food sensitivity testing, but as I've leaned in more to serum labs that they'll usually get from their primary care doctor, and then combining that with the GI stool map, I find that there's so much, excuse me, so much success that we have just with that. And that's been
Mm-hmm.
really great.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm a fan of yeah, the gut testing. It's really important to see because, like you had mentioned earlier, you cannot like just keep throwing supplements at at people. It really is. It's more precision, like personal precision medicine is what we need to practice. That's why I'm such a fan of Crichton because we don't just say, hey, cycle day 7, cycle day 21, but then like what is their cycle day? What is their? It's a peak. So we take the labs based on their peak, and same thing with giving them supplements and telling them what to eat. Yes, kale is healthy, but if they're not they're not processing it very well, it's not going to be healthy for them. So then
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're doing this gut testing. So we need to find out how high a specific microbiota is. Is it like, is there an imbalance? And then even then, that's when we can recommend what kind of what word am I looking for? Um,
Quartz.
yes, probiotics. Yes.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
What kind of probiotics? Because there's
yeah,
different types of probiotics that does different things.
yeah.
And so yeah, so I'm glad you're doing that. Organic acid is like how well we metabolize things. And
Mhm.
another thing, I don't know if you do it already. If my favorite is nutrition testing. So
Yeah,
then I actually did this to myself. Or what I actually ordered a test for myself and my son. So then we found out what vitamin is because
yeah,
he was having something, and I said, well, Western medicine wise, like everything is fine. So let me do a nutrition testing on you. So then we find out he's low on, like specific things. And then I just supplemented him with that and he was fine.
that's
So
amazing.
it's amazing, really. And I know it's not an inexpensive test, but it gives you such good information. If you think about it, paying how much are these testings for? $500 sometimes.
Yeah,
But if you look at the cost of that, the cost of the supplements that you think is going to make you feel better and the cost of you suffering for a long time and the chain of events that's going to trigger what's making you feel really bad. If you find out all you're missing is you just need more B9, right, or B6,
yes,
I think
yes,
it's a no-brainer fix.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah, so what are the most impactful things a woman can start doing right now to feel better?
Yes. So I would say, particularly in this perimenopausal time, and I think one of the reasons I'm so drawn to this season of life is that it's a time when we might have kids that are aging out of the house. We might have little people. We might have some that are in between. Professionally, we're at this different season. In our marriages, we're at this different, beautifully ripened season. Right? We might have aging parents that need us. Like there's so many pulls, so many directions we're stretched, and yet it's still the same type of support. We just need to really dial into what is it your body needs. So it's hard to give like some blanket, like everybody should do these things. But as much as we can't, personalize that for you right here, right now. We can say that, we need to always remember the way that our body is interconnected, mind, body, and soul. And so the way you carry your stress, the way you carry your trauma, the way that, mentally you process through things, this all really matters. And your body's listening to that. And so if we can just learn to dial into what are some of those things that help you unwind and de-stress, or what are some of those things that help you to reconnect with who you are, and are you getting what your cup needs to be filled up, and not from this place of selfishness, but from this place of I can't help anyone else if I don't help myself first. So always starting there. And I like to say that first because, oftentimes in this space, we listen to something like this and we're like, oh, I have to overhaul everything I'm doing. I need to be gluten free and eat all the vegetables and only like throw away all this meat and just buy this meat, right? Like we feel like we need this
Yeah.
like grand gesture to support our health. But the reality is that the more that stresses us out, the less impactful it is to our physiology. So we need to start here from this place of let's deep breathe. I need to make some changes. I see that now, but I'm gonna just like baby step through that, and that's gonna be really good too. And
One at a
then
time.
yes, yes. Finding ways that, like, I think as we have a healthy curiosity, it can help regardless of if you have a history of an eating disorder or a history of poor relationship with yourself. Just cultivate this place of curiosity. What are some symptoms that I wish would go away, or that I don't see other people dealing with? Or what am I putting on my plate? Is this really nourishing me? Or are there things that I'm eating that sometimes that really hurts me digestively?
Mhm.
Right? So just having that healthy curiosity, but very tangibly, I would say, be sure that you're getting protein in your meals.
Yes.
Be sure you're getting 3 meals. Ideally, just if you're like, okay, I just need like some basic parameters, like look at the size of your fist. Are you getting this much protein with every single meal, 3 times a day, sitting down and getting that? I find a lot of women are not. A lot of women are like, oh, I just ate a grilled cheese with my kids for lunch, or I just had a cup of coffee for breakfast. Like, this isn't cutting it, ladies. We do need to nourish and fuel our bodies. And the more that we enter into this no nonsense perimenopausal time, the more our body's telling us, I need more. I need more support. And what you did before isn't going to cut it anymore. If you're like, okay, got that. I'm eating protein. I'm working on stress. It's hard, but I'm working on it. Then what about your colors? How many colors are you consuming in a day? I'm a fan of getting a salad on the table if it's just greens, and our favorite is just greens and a slivered onion with some olive oil, white wine vinegar, and salt. It's amazing. It's delicious. But ideally, could I get more colors on there, right? Do I have an extra minute or two while I'm waiting for this to finish simmering? I could throw some more colors there.
Hmm.
Can I add more vegetables to my lunch or to my breakfast, which is oftentimes a really
Yes.
tricky spot to get more veggies in, right? All of
Hmm.
these things, just like your spiritual health, they matter and they add up to more in your physical health. And as you're making these changes, if you're like, but I don't feel good when I eat a salad, I don't feel good when I eat protein, I'm not hungry in the mornings, these are signs that we need to support the deeper systems of the function of digestion, of detoxification. Like, what else can we do here?
Hmm.
And so that kind of goes back to that curiosity, right? I
Yeah.
tried it. Let me see. Oh, I don't feel good. Okay.
Yes.
Or
And we don't go straight to testing, right? Like if people come to us, we're like, okay, sure, let's get this tested. We always kind of do an inventory,
Yep,
right? So like, okay, let's look at your sleep. Let's look at the people you're surrounding yourselves with, or people
yeah,
that surround you. How much prayer, meditation, and downtime you have, reading time, like you had mentioned,
yeah.
and so if we can fix any of those things, a lot of times people feel better. And then when they don't, then okay, now let's go for the functional testing.
Totally. Yep, exactly. That's what I always tell people. I'm not going to run any tests before we first start. These are things I can offer you in the future. but we're not going to start there. Even if they, Christy, I have this personal preference. Even if they send me all their labs that their PCP sent them, like we've got a CBC and a CMP and a lipid panel, right? Like I've got it all, and I'm like so excited to dive in. But I'm like, no, I want to see the person first,
Yes.
right? I don't even want to dive into your labs until I've had a time to really encounter you and your symptoms and what's heavy for you. That's what I want. That's the good stuff, because then from there we can see, okay, yeah, there's a lot going on here, but these are the loud heavy things that we need to start
Yes.
with. We don't need to
Yep.
overhaul everything.
Yep. Totally agree. And then so lab work too. So yes, like CBC and like A1C, they're good to, they're good, really good information, like lipid panel. The hormone labs, though, we were talking about it earlier. Like he said, it's high, but it's high at that moment in time,
Yeah.
especially in perimenopause. It fluctuates a
Yes.
lot.
Yeah.
And I know we were talking about a device earlier. That's why, in addition to me doing the crane, I track my cycles or my mucus with Creighton. And then
Yeah.
and since being on hormone patches, I actually correlate it as well with a home hormone device. And with my levels fluctuate daily. And I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not alone in this. Everyone's levels fluctuate daily. So
Yeah.
just because someone says, hey, you have a high estrogen, but yes, like what day in the month and what time of the day, there's a lot
Mm.
more things involved. Sorry, my phone just there's a lot more things involved with um with our hormones and with testing.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
So where do most women go wrong with food in this season, even when they're trying to eat healthy?
Yeah, I really do think that a lot of it has more to do with the metabolic picture of how they're either breaking their food down or how their body is utilizing those things. So, like if there is some blood sugar dysregulation, even mildly, where it's not showing up on the labs, but we're just noticing it in your symptoms that your energy level is fluctuating. You never wake up rested, or you're waking up in the middle of the night and not able to sleep through the night. That can be something that can very well be supported through how we're eating our foods, so the order of our foods. And there's lots that's been said on that in different books and resources. But so that's one piece I see a lot, especially as we lose the protective layer of estrogen on helping to balance our blood sugar. But then, if we're not, in addition to that, if we're not breaking food down well, and so we start staying away from raw veggies, or we stop eating the red meat, or we stop eating our breakfast because we're not hungry, those are all signs that we need to support the body digestively, and it's only going to get worse if we don't stop and listen. I have this, it's a horrible, I still can't believe that this happened, but I had a client of mine who went to her gastroenterologist, and she said, I feel terrible, especially when I eat the things that you're telling me I should eat. And he said, well, what do you do? And she said, well, I just eat like Doritos and Cheez-Its, and I don't eat much else because I'm not really that hungry. And he goes, then just do that. And I was like, it's actually because you're not breaking your food down.
Wow.
I was like, how have we gotten this far removed from these basic, simple things of being able to see that, hey, if you're not breaking your food down well, if you're not able to absorb it, then even if you are so intentional about the order of how you're eating and doing all these things perfectly to balance your blood sugar or to feed your gut microbiota or whatever it is, you're still going to have dysfunction, right? We're still going to see
Mhm.
that further down the line.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I mean, I see, I'm sympathetic to like, because I was trained in that. We get rushed through appointments, and then
Sure.
and
Yeah.
and a lot of it goes back to, will insurance allow this? And it's like,
Right.
but yeah, I there's other ways as well. It's why I think I love like Western medicine practices that have health coaches and
Yeah. Yeah.
nutritionists in their practice. Because if you
Yeah.
know if the provider only has so much time and just say, okay, I can't talk to you about this right now, but this is not right. You should not be just eating Doritos
Yes, yes, yes.
all
And
the time.
we need each other, right?
Yes.
We need each other, and it's so good for the people that we're working with to be able to see that I have a team. I'm
Yes.
not I'm not even not just alone. I have a team of people that are helping
Hmm.
me, and it's such a beautiful place to be, especially because usually by the time they find us, they felt really alone for a really long time.
Yes. Yes. And then they get mad at their previous provider. Oh, they didn't help me. But you know, their training is different for everyone,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I always say too. They don't have the tools in their toolbox,
Hmm.
and it's sad for the patient, but at the
Yes.
end of the day, we just have to see it for what it is. And
Hmm. Yeah, totally agree. So you include mindset work, and how does that fit into your the hormone and gut health?
yes, for sure. So kind of going back to, well, no, let me say it this way. So I like to always remind people that as we're talking about the way our body is interconnected, right? Physically, spiritually, mentally, we are approaching a mystery, right? And as Catholics, we're a little more comfortable with like what is a mystery, something we can't totally wrap our mind around. And so the way then that these different pillars, as I see them, can impact other things about our health, are going to sometimes feel a little more than intangible, right? Like almost this, like, what is happening in this place? And truly, I believe that this is why there's so many new age practitioners and so many people trying to like get at this space because they don't quite have the fullness of this truth that we do in our faith background. And so I have empathy for them. They're trying, but unfortunately, their tools are, oftentimes leading others astray. So when we look
Yes.
at like, okay, how is the mindset, how is my mental health impacting my physical health? First and foremost, I just want you to always think, if my body feels safe, it's going to do the most amazing thing it can do, which is grow another human being. Right? For women, that is the most amazing thing our bodies can do. And so as a result, every cycle we want to be sure that our hormones are optimized so that ovulation can happen, so that the progesterone rise can happen. And we want that for as long as possible, right? As long as our body can do that is ideal for our overall health as well. And so going back to the mental health piece, if your body doesn't feel safe, or, I talked about the when somebody has like this extremely acute stressful event and it spirals them into menopause, we need to be mindful that these things do happen, that there is this really strong cause and effect here. And so when we look at things like, how do I talk to myself, or how do I talk to others, or who are the people I've let into my life? We start to see the ways that these things are actually things that we really do need to pay attention to, right? These aren't just like, I know I just have really bad self image, or I got on a call one time, and this woman was like 5 minutes late, and she was like, "I'm so stupid. I'm so sorry. I'm just such an idiot. I cannot believe
Negative
I'm
self-talk.
so dumb." Like for 2 minutes, she just kept berating herself, and she had little people around her, and all I could think was, "Oh, girlfriend, we've got a lot of work to do." We've got a lot of work to do, because if we talk like that to ourselves, what have we allowed to become the soundtrack all around us? It's really hard to pick this really amazing man that talks really kind to us and helps us bring out these good qualities, for us to hear the voice of our Lord speaking to our hearts, for us to surround ourselves with friends that build us up and edify us, when we talk to ourselves like we're a piece of garbage, right? It really impacts that. And then how safe does your body feel? And I think we can all kind of picturing that image. And even if you're just like, I need to put myself in the picture of the little kid, how do you feel if your mom talks like that about herself? We all feel that in our body. And that's that transformation, right? So then if instead we can talk gentle and kind and loving to ourselves, we can allow others and raise them up, right? Expect a level of, no, you don't talk to mama like that, right? To little people, or to our spouse, like the way that we're
Yes.
relating to each other, like, oh my gosh, you're right, I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have said that to you like that, I see
Yeah.
how that could have come across wrong, right? Like it permeates everything else about the culture. And as the woman, we do have a large responsibility for establishing that culture and that environment of that emotional piece, which is very much stemming from what's going on up here and the way that we're talking to ourselves. And so that's part of the reason when I work with women one on one, we start with a 90-minute consult, because I want to hear that dialogue. And it always comes up. In 90 minutes, when I'm just asking them about themselves, it always comes up. And I
Mhm.
love that, because then we can say, okay, so we've got some lies that we're believing, and we need
Yes.
to
Yes.
work through how do we rewrite those? How do we rewire your brain? And I just find that that's just as impactful as, what we're eating and how we're breaking our food down.
I love that. So I actually did a neurocoaching certification as well, and then I did work through myself because I was getting certified in it. And yes, like unearthed a lot.
Ooh, it's rough work.
It is. It's rough.
You're like, whoa, okay. Sorry about that, guys.
It was an expensive certification, but like, well, it is worth it because it got me from here, like
Yes.
to here where I'm supposed to be. But
Yeah.
yes, so now like I do see like what you're saying, just listening to people and how they talk to themselves and how, like, are they jumping in the gossip, or are they
Yeah.
saying, well, maybe they acted that way because, they're not feeling good, or,
Yeah.
maybe they're having a bad day. It's, there's a lot more than, like, especially with social media, we jump into this like cancellation culture, will restricting because you said this or that.
Yeah.
It's Yeah, we are. There's a lot of noise, and speaking to social media. So I, my son, I have a 17-year-old, and I was scrolling to something, and he said, "Why do you have a TikTok account, Mom?" I said, "Because I need to talk about our faith. I am." Putting content, I'm talking about the saints, and then I said, look at what I have," and he's like, "Oh, okay."
I
Then
love that. I love the way they like keep us on our toes. They're like,
yeah,
whoa, mom. I have a 17-year-old son too. It's really
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
They're like, okay, am I doing something? I don't think so.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, no, I'm not dancing there. I'm not like doing, whatever. I'm like, I'm trying to like put good information.
Yes. So funny.
And then when he approved, I was like, oh, he approved.
Oh, I know.
I'm being a good mother.
And praise the Lord for the gift of them and where they
Yeah.
are. And that's beautiful.
Yeah. No, I love this. So as a woman of faith, so a lot so another thing that I noticed too is you being, like faithful women, being a Catholic woman, we, aside from the negative self-talk, I do see a lot of guilt,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So like there's this saying that, oh, if you're not saying, it's a joke, that, oh, if you're Episcopalian, you're like 90% guilty, but if you're Catholic, you're 99% guilty.
Oh gosh.
Because there's
Yeah.
a lot of guilt. So like we give and give, and if we don't give, we feel guilty. We feel bad. If we don't help, we feel bad. And
Mm-hmm.
even getting on hormone replacement, right?
Yeah.
So like someone was talking to me, well, I don't want hormone replacement, and I said, well, why not? Well, because it's hormones. I said, no, it's different. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
We're not suppressing your hormones, like,
Mm-hmm.
because they have this thing in their mind that as soon as they hear hormones, it's mind goes automatic to birth control.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I said, no, but we're not using it as birth control. We're replacing what's needed. That's why in the NAPRO world, it's more supportive. We're not just like, here, take this for 90 days and it's renewed for for
Totally.
3 refills. No, we,
Yes.
we keep watching you, and see if you need it at certain times. That's why I'm such a fan of tracking hormones. Do you need it at certain times of the month? or do you need it at all? And what do you need, right? It's not like a blanket here. Here's both of them. Take them, take
Yep,
them every day. Um,
definitely.
and so how do you like Catholic women who feel this way?
Mhm.
How do you tell them that they need to care for their bodies, and that way they can live out their God-given mission?
Yeah, definitely. And I love talking about through that lens of mission because I think that's the only way to really break free from that guilt of it is this I do think it's an attack of the evil one on us to
Yeah.
try to keep us small and not doing what we're supposed to be doing. I like to think of it a lot as it's not that we're not carrying our cross by carrying and dealing with these symptoms. It's actually that we're carrying an extra. My Catholic business coach, she says it so well. She says we're carrying a 50-pound kettlebell around, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is so heavy. And God's like, just put it down. Just put it down. Like, I just want you to put it down. That's not our form fitted cross. We will get that. Right? Like,
Oh
if
wow.
we're walking with our Lord, we will get the form fitted cross that's just for you. But the kettlebell that you're carrying, just set it down. Those symptoms that you're like, these are so horrible and I'm stuck in this place, or I eat these things and I feel like garbage, and then I stress eat some more of these things and I feel more like garbage, and we're just spiraling ourselves. And I think sometimes it shows up as this place of um, I, I just need to, if I do reach out, if I do branch out, I'm taking resources or I'm taking things from my family or from something, money I could have donated somewhere, or resources I could have given to others, instead of seeing it as putting my oxygen mask on, right? Instead of seeing it as, if I don't do these things, I can't at all live out my specific mission, not somebody else's mission, right? You might be called to make a lot of money, to give money to an organization, or to give time to that may be a part of your calling. But I think more often we hide behind these other things, and then the world doesn't see the mission that we were made specifically for, because we're trapped behind being fatigued and being really worn out and being up all night with hot flashes and having extra weight that slows us down, and then we can't go move and do the things that we're called to do, to love others. So I think it's really an important thing to take up in prayer and say, like, what is the kettlebell, Lord? I like frequently find myself like, oh yeah, that's a kettlebell, I should just put down right now.
You're
Right?
picking up extra weight
Like,
that you don't need to.
oh, yes, you're like, my back hurts. Like, just put it down. It's
That's not
okay.
part of the circuit. That's the next station.
Yes, yes, you'll have enough. You'll have enough that you need to offer up. Just put that down.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I never saw it that way. I love that. And yeah, so then yeah, discernment. It sounds like we need to discern, do I have to do this? Is this what you want me to do?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
When I was signing up, I just recently signed up for another program, and I told at the call, you know how they do like a call before they they offer you the program, like so.
Yeah.
And I liked it, but I said, yeah, it's likely I'm gonna sign up, but I need to pray. It's gonna be I need I'll call you, set up another call for tomorrow because I need to pray about this.
Yeah.
And then the person was like, why do you? I was like, because I need to pray. If this is the right thing, I feel like it's the right thing, but I need confirmation.
Yes. Totally. Totally. Yeah. It makes all the difference. Yeah.
Yeah, so offer it up and ask the Lord, is this my assignment? And is this what you want me to do?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
adoration, if this is Catholic show, if you're not going to adoration, highly recommend take time for
Mhm.
adoration. If you cannot sign up for a whole hour, just stop by 10-15 minutes. I guarantee you that's where you find scientifically you will lower your cortisol levels, and outside of that you will find peace, you will find the answers that you've been looking for, you will hear the Lord.
Yeah. Definitely.
So if a woman takes one thing from this conversation and does it by this week, what do you want it to be?
Yes. Okay. I'm going to squeeze in a second. So, first, know that you're not stuck. It's not just because you're getting older. It's not just because you're going through perimenopause. It's not just because your mom struggled through perimenopause. It's not because all your girlfriends have it so bad. You don't even have it that bad. So you should suck it up. Like, you're not stuck. There's a lot that can be done to support you. What do? Listen better to your body. Your body's telling you what it needs to be more supported. It might need more sleep. It might need more adoration and quiet reading time. It might need more vegetables. It might need less vegetables. It might need
And
less
what
ice.
kind of vegetables?
Right? Exactly. It might need less ice cream and sugar. Right? Like just kind of like be aware of how are you feeling when you're going throughout your day to day. Curiosity.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Yep. I always recommend, just writing things down. And when I tell people this, get a journal, and they look at me like, I thought you were going to give me like something more
Yes.
billing for this. Why are you telling me just a journal? But like,
Yeah.
really, it's more. We have
Yeah.
to go back to the basics,
Yeah.
especially with like all the noise, all the electronics. And actually, I'm gonna. It's not really a confession. I'm just gonna share. So I have a sticker subscription.
That's so cute.
I subscribe to this sticker company. They send stickers and journals. And like last night, I was just putting all the stickers, the colorful stickers, on my calendar, and I was
I
planning my
love it.
day. It was it was relaxing.
Yes. Yes. It's
Not
therapeutic.
It is.
Yes.
It's therapeutic. I'm like, oh, okay. All I was doing was just like putting the stickers, colorful Monday to Friday, and putting this. It was like, why don't we do that more? Right?
Yes.
Let's just like let's go back to the basics. Sit and get some sunshine, sit in
Yeah.
quiet, read a book, drink your coffee with collagen.
Yes. 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 I love that, Christy. That's so good. That's
It's
so good.
amazing. So Rita, thank you so much. This is so good. So tell everyone where they can find you.
Yes. So I'm on socials and YouTube, health and hormones. There's a funny period in there, so be sure you look for Rita Johnson. And yes, I would love to answer any other questions. I frequently tell people like put questions on my YouTube videos if you're like, but what about this? Like, there's a lot of questions in the nutrition space. Just ask your questions, and we can talk about it.
Yes, amazing. So yeah, so it's healthandhormones.org, right? And then so on Instagram it's health period and hormones.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And she's
And
put
she's put
together
together.
a freebie for you. It's called 5 Easy Real Food Meals, plus the tips and tricks that she actually uses in her own kitchen. And I'm going to grab it myself. So I recommend everyone grabbing it. There is the QR code. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, just scan the QR code, it'll take you right to that page. And if you're listening to our podcast, the resources will be in the show notes. And so Rita shared with me earlier that she will be having a group coaching program that's going to launch in August. So keep watch of that. If this conversation resonated with you, share it with your girlfriend, share it with your family, and share it to a woman that needs even just a little help. We're a tribe. We need to lift each other up. So subscribe and come back and join us again. So come back. Take care of yourself. You were made for more than just getting by. Be well and God bless you.